Simple in the sense single line or single statement. Compound in the sense what? Multiple statement. When I compile Java program, I'm going to get the intermediate code. Statements are executed in sequence in the order in which they are written. Hello to all, a warm welcome to my new session on Introduction to Java. I'm Revati, faculty from the Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram, first grade college, the Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. So dear student, before going to start my today's session, let me to recall the topic which I have covered in my last session. So dear student, in my last session, I started with Java tokens. So what is token here? That is nothing but the smallest unit used to write the Java program. What are the smallest unit we discussed? That is nothing but keywords or reserved words. Along with that, we discussed literals, identifiers. Along with that, we discussed operators as well as separators. And from the examination point of view, Java tokens are very important topic. Along with that, I have discussed how to create Java program. But in my today's session, I'm going to deal with Java statements. Along with that, I'm going to deal with JVM. That is nothing but Java Virtual Machine. Along with that, I'm going to deal with command line arguments. These are the three topics I'm going to deal in my today's session. Now, at the beginning, I'm going to deal with Java statements. So, dear student, what a statement? Here, statements are nothing but the program lines. And if I consider statement, I have two type of statement, block statement and single statement. So what is single statement? That is one line. Now when I have more than one line of programs, in the sense when I have two lines and I want to execute both the lines, then it is termed as compound statement. So what are the two type of statement? Simple statement and compound statement. Simple in the sense single line or single statement. Compound in the sense what? Multiple statement. And to execute multiple statement, what I want to do? I want to write those statement within the curly brace. So the statement in Java are like sentence. So what a statement? That is nothing but the sentence. To frame the sentence, what I'm going to do? I'm going to use high level programming language. That's nothing but English like statement. And a statement is an executable combination of tokens and ending with the semicolon. So what is statement? It is nothing but this sentence. And to indicate that is the end of the statement, what I want to do? I want to write the semicolon. Now let me to write the statement here. So I'm going to use system dot out dot println. Okay, I'm going to write within the double quote, good morning, close the double quote, close the brace and place the semicolon at the end of the line. So this is example for statement. So what is statement? That's nothing but the sentence. And to indicate that the end of the statement, what I'm going to do, I'm going to place the semicolon at the end. So there are two type of statements, simple in the sense one line, and compound in the sense multiple statement. So statements are executed in sequence in the order in which they appear. So statements are going to execute. How I'm going to write? In the same way it's going to execute. So execute one line, after the completion of that line execute next line. So statements are executed in sequence in the order in which they are written. Now I'm going to have 5 different type of statements. In that, at the beginning, I'm going to have expression statement, labeled statement, then I'm going to have synchronization statement, control statement, and guarding statement. Before, let me to explain what is expression statement. So dear student, in expression statement, I'm going to have increment expression and decrement expression. In increment, I'm going to have pre-increment and I'm going to have post-increment. If I consider decrement expression, then I'm going to have post-decrement and pre-decrement. So dear student, if I write A plus plus, so here plus plus in the sense increment. So it is pre-increment. Pre-increment. Now decrement. A minus 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 A. So these kind of expressions are categorized under expression statement. Then we have labeled statement. There are certain time I want to jump from one statement to another. In that time I can able to use go to, that is labeled go to statement. So dear student, when I want to jump from one statement to another statement, that time I can go with labeled statement. Then I'm going to have control statement. So dear student, control in the sense what? I want to control the flow of execution. That means I want to control the flow of program execution. For that, I'm going to have control statement. Now, this control statement is further classified into 3 types, that is selection statement, iteration statement, then I'm going to have jump statement. And if I consider selection statement, then I'm going to have if statement, if else statement, if else if ladder statement, switch statement, all those things comes under my selection statement. And if I consider iteration statement, so iteration in the sense what? It's nothing but the repetition. There are certain time what I want to do, I want to execute same block of code again and again until the given condition is true. In that time, I'm going to use iteration statement. Under iteration statement, I'm going to have while, do while, and for loop. Now, if I consider jump statement, I'm going to have conditional jump and unconditional jump. That means when the particular condition is satisfied, okay, jump from one block to another, that is conditional jump. And I'm not going to specify any condition, but still I'm going to jump from one block to another block, that is unconditional jump. Under jump statement, I'm going to have break statement, continue statement, as well as return statement. Then I'm going to have synchronization statement. Now tell me why I want synchronization. because Java supports multi-threading concept. So what is thread? Here thread is nothing but program in execution. Suppose when two or more processes want to communicate each other, that time they require synchronization between the process as well as resource. To provide synchronization between the process as well as resource, I'm going to have synchronization statement. And where I'm going to use synchronization statement in my multi-threading concept. Now I'm going to have guarding statement. So what is guarding here? That is nothing but the cleaning process or error handling. There are certain time I want to handle the errors manually. That means I want to identify the errors and I want to throw the error and I want to manage the error. So dear student, here guarding statement is nothing but exception handling. So exception handling in the sense error handling. How to identify the error, how to manage the error, all those things we are going to study under guarding statement. So dear student, Java statements are categorized into 5 different types. One is expression statement, labeled statement, control statement, synchronization statement as well as guarding statement. Now, in my today's session, I'm going to deal with Java statement. That means how can I write simple Java program? So dear student, first what I want to do, I want to create my class. And to create my class, what is my first step? I want to choose the class name. So here, what is my class name? That is nothing but the test. To create my own class, I'm going to use the keyword class. Now, dear student, what is my next statement? That is nothing but main program. So, dear student, if I consider Java program, how many main program I can able to have? That is only one main program, and the execution of the main program, that is nothing but the execution of the program is going to start from main function or main method. So dear student, here Java is case sensitive programming language. That means I have to project certain keywords as it is. So dear student, if I consider public, okay, if I write capital letter P, I'm going to get the error message because instead of capital letter P, what I want to do, I want to write small letter p. So public static void main. Now, while writing string, I want to use capital letter S. I want to use capital letter S and I'm going to create the variable. Now I'm going to start my statement. So dear student, if I consider system, in system S is capital letter, and if I consider out, I'm going to get the error message because here O is small letter, because Java is case sensitive and I want to write the code as it is. So here O is small letter. So it is out dot println. Out dot println. See here, inside the double quote, I'm going to write capital letter H. That means whatever the thing I want to display, that should be written within the double quote. And to write my statement, I can able to use uppercase letters as well as lowercase letters, because here I just want to print the message. So dear student, I just want to display the statement, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to write those statements inside the double quote. Now dear student, one more error message you're going to get, that is spelling mistake. So what spelling mistake? It is print ln. So one more error. So what I want to write? Print ln. So while writing any program, you have to be conscious. And Java is case sensitive programming language. So if I consider my second statement, once again I'm going to get the error because O is capital letter. So what I want to do, I want to write small letter O. Here this one print ln. And for my third line, same error. See here, it is wrong. That means I want to use small letter O and it is print ln. Now let me to rewrite the program once again. So first what I want to do, I want to write, or I want to create the class, and here class name is test. So dear student, it is small letter C. Open the curly brace. Then what I want to do? I want to write public static void main string. Yes, capital letter ARGS of, open the curly brace. Now write the statement. So what is my statement? S is capital letter system dot, so it is small letter O out, small letter P, print ln. So what is print ln? That is nothing but print new line, and I'm going to type hello. Now write remaining statement and close the curly brace. So dear student, while writing any Java program, you must be very conscious, because it is case sensitive programming language. Now I'm going to have Java virtual machine. So what is virtual? Virtual in the sense what? It is not physically present, but logically it is present, but physically it is not present. So Java compiler produces an intermediate code. So dear student, how to compile Java program? That is Java C test.java. When I compile Java program, I'm going to get the intermediate code. So what is my intermediate code? That is nothing but the byte code. And this byte code is not machine code or not object code. Now what I want to do, I want to convert this byte code to machine code. For that, I'm going to have the interpreter. So what is my source program? That is nothing but the Java program. That is the input to the Java compiler. Now, this Java compiler generates byte code. This Java compiler generates byte code. So here Java compiler produces an intermediate code and it is known as byte code, and this byte code is not machine code. So this machine is called Java virtual machine. That means Java compiler generates byte code, and whatever the byte code it's going to generate, that machine is not physically present, but it is present logically in the computer memory. That means JVM is nothing but the Java virtual machine, and it is logically present, and this machine itself called Java virtual machine, it exists only inside the computer memory. Now it is a simulated, that means physically it is not present, but logically it is present. It's a simulated computer within the computer memory, which does all the major functions for the real computer. And Java virtual machine code is not machine detailed. That means whatever the byte code I'm going to get, it is not the machine code. Now I want to convert this byte code to machine code. For that I'm going to have the interpreter. That means the input to the interpreter is nothing but byte code. Now the job of the interpreter is to interpret the line and generates machine code. This is nothing but the object code. So this is the way the Java virtual machine is going to work. Now I'm going to have command line argument. So what is command line argument? Before that, what is argument? It is nothing but the parameters what I'm going to pass to my program or my method. And if I consider command line argument, that is nothing but I'm going to pass the argument. Where and how I'm going to pass the argument? Through the command prompt, and that is known as command line argument. While running my Java program, along with that I'm going to pass the parameters or arguments is known as command line arguments. So dear student, first what I want to do, I want to create the class. Now I'm going to write the main function. I'm going to write the main function. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use two variables called count and I. And I'm going to create one string variable. Now tell me why I'm going to use count here. To get the total number of arguments. To keep track of total number of arguments, I'm going to use the variable called count. And how I'm going to get the length or total number of arguments? With the help of length. Now what I will do, I'm going to display the message that the total number of arguments present, and I'm going to use while loop, because here I'm going to have more than one argument and I want to display all the arguments one by one. For that I'm going to use while loop, and I'm going to assign that argument to the string, and I'm going to print the string. For example, think that I have program Java, it is conline test, and I'm going to pass A, B, C and D. So how many arguments I have? It is 4, and I want to display all 4 arguments. For that what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the while loop. And I'm going to read, that means I'm going to display one argument at a time. Okay, this is the way I can able to write command line arguments in Java. Anyway, dear student, in my today's session, I started with Java statements. Along with that, I have discussed Java virtual machine. Along with that, I have discussed command line arguments. But in my next session, I'm going to deal with constants and variables. Anyway, dear student, let's meet in the next session with more information about introduction to Java. Until that, keep watching and keep learning. Thank you.